we're still seeing phone being the first and the highest volume of contact with our members. So it would be phone, text, video, and then branch transactions. Our average monthly video calls were 17 a month. That was May of 2020. We've reached a high of over 600 video calls a month now.
Reinventing member and customer experience is often at the top of the agenda for community institutions looking to stay relevant and competitive in their markets. Doing so takes time and resources, and for smaller organizations, limited by both, this requires a focused effort to get the greatest impact. To talk about their approach and success, we have with us today Carma Peters. Carma is the president and CEO of Michigan Legacy Credit Union. The 77-year-old FI, headquartered in a Detroit suburb, Michigan Legacy is a $200 million CU that is in the process of reinventing their physical and digital experience in order to not only increase the appeal of the credit union, but also bring along their existing members along in the process. Carma, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Rich.
So I think probably the place to start off is this is a process you've been doing for like a couple of years now, and I believe predated COVID, right? When you kind of started on this. But tell us a little bit about like what got you started. What was the impetus for this? What kind of pushed you in this direction?
Sure. We did strategic planning with our leadership team and really started diving into the data of how many members support a branch, not transactions, because that can inflate the actual number of how many members support each branch location. So we really dug into the data, and we were shocked when we took out mail payments, took out night deposit, all that kind of stuff, to find out that only 7% of our members ever walked through the door. So that meant 93% of our membership were dealing with us electronically or digitally. And we knew our branches were old and tired. We had, starting in 2007, done a total of 5 mergers and 7 conversions in 5 years. So we had a lot of small main headquarter credit union buildings that were old and tired, and started reimagining, okay, what should we do to be sustainable in the future and for decades? And we knew digital transformations happening, fintechs happening. So how can we compete in that arena? And as we started talking about it, we first started looking at about 10 ITMs, which for us would be a budget of $2 million. And I actually spoke to a friend of mine who runs a credit union in Chicago, and he said, well, come visit and look at my video banking system, and it may change your mind. You won't need that heavy dollar infrastructure. And so I took 3 of my key leadership team. We went to Chicago and we looked at his facility and went, oh yeah, this is a different way of looking at it. Came back, and on our way back, we started just brainstorming what would members not be able to do, or how would it be done differently if we converted our branches to video branches and took out our teller lines? What would that look like? And so we started running through all the scenarios, and ended up speaking at a conference in Spokane and talked to another CEO, and she also had a video banking platform, and we ended up going with that one just based on a lot of different features when we were digging into it. But the bottom line was we got everything ITMs can do, and one of the things that we struggled with ITMs is we couldn't force 20,000 members to 10 ITM locations, but we could send all of our 20,000 members here, wherever they have their smartphone. So we chose that platform, and it is a fraction of the cost of our original thought of $2 million for 10 ITMs. And so then we started talking about how we were going to reinvent our branches and what that would look like. So we currently have 5 branches. 3 of them have been remodeled. We're working on our 4th one. It started April 1st. And we have 1 more after that. And when we came up with it, my COO said, you know what, Karma, I have a really crazy idea. Now, that's not out of the norm for him. So I was like, okay, what is it? And he said, I really think we should make our credit union look like a diner. And I'm like, okay, why? Why? And he said, think about it. The population that comes into the branch are older demographic. Let's put them in a mindset and that nostalgic feeling of service that they get from a diner and introduce them to new technology. It's the safest environment we can put them in to give them that security while we're introducing new technology. So our branches look like a modern day diner. They have those features. Our ATM in our foyers has a jukebox facade when it faces the street. So it also became our brand, and it fits Southeast Michigan, right? Cars, muscle cars. So it's really our unique brand that came out of it that was the most surprising thing, but it's been great. Members have done a wonderful job adapting to this new technology. And then once our concierge in the lobby walks them through how to use this technology in the lobby, they let them know, now you can do this anywhere your smartphone is. So it's about banking that's convenient for you, not for us.
So what's interesting here was kind of abandoning what's an established approach to, how to add automation and like lower teller footprint and things like that to look more along what you said, the video platform side. How much, I guess, how did you like mitigate the risk of, man, all of my existing members are going to hate this. This is going to be a problem for them. Did you do like focus group testing or anything along those lines to get their feedback, or maybe like a trial to try this out to see, you take the temperature of your members?
We really didn't. We just knew we have to evolve. So in our minds and in our team's mind, we're giving them the best of both worlds, right? We still have our physical branches. The video system is very robust. So they get to see the staff member that could be answering the call in the back of that office or another office. And they get to have their documents displayed. But I think the key to it was, one, we talked about this for 2 years with our staff before we introduced it and explained to them why we needed to do this, why it was important, how it would make us relevant in the future and not the dinosaur of the past financial institution, and got them really excited. And then when we launched our first remodeled branch, which we started our video system in May of 2020 and remodeled our first branch that same year. And when we did, I was in the lobby with my EVP and COO, our VP of HR and training, who's been with us 25 years and come up through the ranks. And we really walked members, held their hands, walked them through it and showed them how great this is and explained to them, now this really is a benefit for you, because if you can't come in, you can still do what you need to do, and it's safe and it's secure. And we answered all those questions. Some of the feedback we did get from a marketing survey, we addressed in a YouTube video and put that on our YouTube channel.
And what has the result been? I mean, it sounds like part of this is to push, not push, but encourage your members to be more self-service oriented, particularly
Correct.
Using mobile device and all that. Has that worked out for you? Is that like a success metric for what you've been doing?
It really is. What we didn't expect is, because now we're forcing them to use the ATM in the foyer for cash transactions or withdrawals or deposits and withdrawals. We increased our ATM limit so that they could get up to $2,000 cash back. We have not experienced any additional fraud. And here's like an interesting story of one of those first members that I talked to. She came in and she was like, I want to make a deposit. So I said, well, it is new. Do you have your ATM or debit card? And so she said, yeah, I've had it for 5 years. I've never used it. And so I walked her out to the ATM and helped her use it. And at the end, I just said, now this is about when it's convenient for you, because you can come 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And she said, you mean I can come on Sunday and get cash? And I didn't have the heart to tell her she always could through the ATM and the drive-through. But we also saw our interchange increase 35% because those members that weren't using their cards in an ATM, now that we've taught them how to use self-service ATMs with a smart ATM, now they're using their cards as debit cards out, and we're receiving that interchange income.
But not something you planned on. That was just kind of like a knock-on experience. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And are you seeing like higher use of your digital channels like mobile web, et cetera?
Absolutely. Yeah, we see that continue to increase. So when we started with our video platform, our average monthly video calls were 17 a month. That was May of 2020. We've reached a high of over 600 video calls a month now. So we see that continue to increase. And as we remodel each branch, we see that increase a little bit more as members become very familiar in using that, and then using it outside the branch as well. So it's typically, and we're still seeing phone being the first and the highest volume of contact with our members. So it would be phone, text, video, and then branch transactions.
And has branch traffic dropped off? Like, do you see less people coming through the door?
Starting to see it just now come back from the pandemic. I mean, I think everyone experienced that, where the branch traffic did not come back for a long time. We're starting to see it pick up a little bit more and more now, but we don't expect that. I mean, people just are busy. They have busy lives, and they don't have time to come to the credit union to open an account or change an address or dispute a credit card and sign a form. Now they could do that all through the video banking system, either on their desktop at home or their phone, their smartphone.
So, I mean, sounds like this was a win from a member standpoint, member experience standpoint. How did it go on the employee side? The number of people, like the way that they were going to work from a day-to-day basis was going to be more or less changed, uprooted, right? The nature of their job.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that process go? Like, what did you have to do to bring them along? Like that part of the change management, which sometimes can be as difficult.
Yeah,
as anything,
I think talking about it, our staff development day, and we have Wednesday morning trainings. So we talked about it with them for 2 years, very heavily the year before we were going to do this, because things did change, right? We no longer accept coin. In a small branch environment, a coin machine with video banking stations right next to it is just not going to work. Luckily, we had COVID on our side, and so there was this coin shortage, and we said, we're not accepting coin anymore. Because the additional part for staff that they really like is there's no more teller drawers. The teller lines are gone. So all we have are our video stations, and then we have a concierge that's connected to our TCR. So you're not having that risk also of having those old-fashioned teller drawers. Everything's in a safe, whether it's a TCR or an ATM. And we don't need those big safes anymore to hold all those teller drawers. So it was a process in getting them used to it. And that's why it's really important that senior management, including myself, anytime we launch a new branch, we're there. We're telling the members, yep, it's a new way. But if you like it the old-fashioned way, we left the drive-through open just for you. So them hearing it's okay to say, no, we don't take coin. I know that usually most people have another account and there's always Coinstar, but yes, it's different, but it's the changes that we had to make. And staff hearing that, then they know how to talk to members once we're no longer in the lobby after that first week.
So it sounds very hard to do, and you're the first person who said, luckily COVID came along, but I understand the context. The technology part of this, which is always a big thing from a skills standpoint, like the ability to execute and how much you're going to rely on vendors to do that for you. But then also the cultural aspect, the ability to kind of consume that change. How did you kind of pull this off, just considering the size of the organization and something that, and I guess how would it compare to doing like like you've done the mergers before, like doing like a core migration? Like how did that play out in there, and what was the hard part for you?
It was relatively easy. Now, I will tell you the only shift was we worked with a great company. The workflows within that video banking system actually make it very easy for staff. Those documents, once they're done, automatically get stored. I loved the security of the company that we picked because when a member signs their document, it actually takes their picture, captures their IP address, and then that is logged into their member file. So we know exactly, we can compare that to their signature on file, we can compare it to their photo, and we have that IP address stored where that transaction happened. The company made it very easy. We did delay our implementation because one of the things that they typically do at implementation is they had a member service call queue, for lack of a better word. And we said, no, we really want the member to choose the subject matter expert, because what's the biggest frustration for members, right? Is to call and say, oh, let me transfer you to someone. And then they have to be handed off. And we said, no, we want them to be able to pick on the screen which department and which subject matter expert they want to talk to. So if it's a card issue, they go directly to card services. If it's a mortgage, they go directly to Mortgage Connect. If it's a Loan Connect. And if it's service, they go directly to that subject matter expert. We didn't want them to have to be handed off and take the chance that call was lost. So we had them revamp that for us. So that was one of the biggest obstacles in the implementation. But as far as getting it set up and getting it running and testing, they were fabulous to work for, and it was really relatively easy, even with a small IT staff.
And the broader adoption from like users and tellers and your concierge people, what was their involvement in the process? Was it just like, hey, training a couple of days before go live, or was it more intensive than that?
Correct. So when we typically implement something, we will make sure our leadership team tries it out first and goes through the pain of any adjustment. Then we'll trickle it down to the management team, get them comfortable with it, and then introduce it to all staff. I would say one of the key things that we really tried to do when we implemented this is we also did a website rebrand. So our website, if you go to our website, it matches our retro look, that retro diner look. And we put video links in probably 100 places where you could start a video call. And when we introduced it in the very beginning, we said, take a tour of our new branch. Well, when members would click that link, they didn't realize they were now on a video call. And they're like, this is our new branch. It goes anywhere you go. So that really helped us softly introduce that to the members in a totally non-threatening way.
This is great. It's an interesting story about really reinventing the way banking is being done and staying relevant. Thanks for coming in and sharing your story with us. If people are interested more about Michigan Legacy or you or your process, where can they go to find out more?
They can visit us at michiganlegacycu.org. You can click any of the video links. Our staff are very used to doing tours on video and demonstrating how to change an address, something that simple. And you can also reach out to me at cpeters@michiganlegacycu.org.
Thanks again. Thanks for sharing, Carma.
Thank you so much. It was great.